I continue with the lecture where I was teaching you the chapter A Truly Beautiful Mind. We had discussed about where Einstein had taken birth and how did he pursue his education and whom did he meet along his journey. How did the parents, how did he shift from one place to another? Why did he shift from one place to the other? What was his bonding with the people? Now we proceed with the further lecture. We had stopped at page number 48. I had discussed the last with you, that was Bureau of Theoretical Physics. Now we start with the paragraph number 9. One of the famous papers of 1905 was Einstein's special theory of relativity. You will be learning this special theory of relativity and very cutely with an example. Though I am not a science person, but his example put this particular thought in my mind also. It was easy for me also to learn. What does he want to say? Though in big terminologies of science, if you tell me this, nothing would go in my brain. But he has given an example which has been cited in the book, which makes it very, very easy for us to understand what was the theory of relativity. Was Einstein's special theory of relativity, according to which time and distance are not absolute. Indeed, two perfectly accurate clocks, this is one of the examples, will not continue to show the same time if they come together again after a journey if one of them was moving very fast relative to the other. So he says, if you take two clocks and then put them on a journey, same journey, and like the distance is the same, but one vehicle is moving faster than the other one, so the clocks will not show the same time because of two units in science. And which are those two units? From this, if they come together again after a journey, if one of them has been moving very fast relative to the other. From this followed the world's most famous formula, which describes the relationship between mass and energy. E is equal to mc square. Now in this mathematical equation, E stands for energy, m for mass, and c for the speed of the light in a vacuum. Now he says, very, very cutely, he describes this particular theory of relativity by giving one more example, which is like for a layman. When you sit with a nice girl for 2 hours, it seems like 2 minutes. When you sit on a hot stove for 2 minutes, it seems like 2 hours. That's relativity, said Albert Einstein. So definitely nothing that sitting on the stove and sitting with a very beautiful girl doesn't have any relationship with the 2 units mass and energy, but he put the concept so beautifully forth that you understand what is he trying to say. While Einstein was solving the most difficult problems in physics, his private life was unraveling. So like in his private life, he was facing many, many difficulties while he was reaching the zenith in his physics aspect. Albert had wanted to marry Mileva right after finishing his studies. You remember that German one, no? Okay. But his mother was against it. She thought Mileva, who was 3 years older than her son, was too old for him. She was also bothered by Mileva's intelligence. She is a book like you, his mother said. Einstein put the wedding off. Now, I would say it's a norm in the society, or it's a typical thinking of the society, that if the boy is older to the girl, then it's okay. But if the girl is older to the boy, then people find it a little bit difficult to accept that person as a bride. So that was what his mom said, and his mom had one more glitch in the marriage over there, was that she was intelligent, and when two intelligent people would come together, she dreaded that either one would get suppressed or the other one would get overpowered. The pair finally married in January 1903 and had 2 sons. But a few years later, the marriage faltered. Now, there were problems in the marriage after a few years. That the word faltered means it became weak. Mileva, meanwhile, was losing her intellectual ambition and becoming an unhappy housewife. If you are that determined, if you're that intellectual, if somebody tells you to sit at home and do nothing, then it is very difficult for the lady to sit at home and become a housewife, which is opposite to her nature. So that was the basic problem in their marriage. After years of constant fighting, the couple finally divorced in 1919. Einstein married his cousin Elsa the same year. After getting divorced, he got married immediately to his cousin. Einstein's new personal chapter coincided with his rise to world fame. He's brought up another theory. In 1915, he had published his general theory of relativity, which provided a new interpretation of gravity. The prior one was mass and energy, and this one was on gravity. An eclipse of the sun in 1919. Now he had brought in a theory, which was proved, which actually was proved by a natural occurrence in that year only, brought proof that it was accurate. Einstein had correctly calculated in advance the extent to which the light from fixed stars would be deflected through the sun's gravitational field. That was his general theory of relativity. The newspapers proclaimed his work as a scientific revolution. So because his calculations which he had already given in his theory had been proven right, perfectly matching with the actual calculations, then everybody knew that this guy was a genius, a scientific revolution. Einstein received the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1921. He was showered with honors and invitations from all over the world and lauded by the press, appreciated, applauded, and he was given that kind of respect, honor, that he had brought in so many, he had brought into limelight so many aspects of physics. Now he was in Germany, remember that, and that time so many things were happening in Germany. When the Nazis came to power in Germany in 1933, Einstein emigrated to the United States. Now this word emigrated needs to be taken care of here. There is one word called immigration and the other one is emigration. The word immigration is I-M-M-I-G-R-A-T-I-O-N and this is E-M-I-G-R-A-T-I-O-N. Both, a little bit of difference is there in the pronunciation but has got lots of difference in the meaning as well. So I will be telling you the meaning of emigration right now. You write the meaning of immigration taken down from the internet on the top of it so that you know what's the difference between these two words. Now emigration means to leave your own country. Like I am in India, I leave my own country and go to some other country to settle down over there. Okay, emigration means that. So because of that Nazis problem at that time in Germany, it was not safe also, and it was not the environment, the surroundings were not safe enough for him to stay over there. So he went away from there to where? United States. 5 years later, the discovery of nuclear fission in Berlin had American physicists in an uproar. Now, nuclear fission. If you've heard about nuclear power, you've heard about nuclear bombs. This is a theory which had been developed at that time, and you could make weapons. Now, physicists were very, very upset about this thing because they knew the amount of destruction it could cause if such a theory was brought into action and used on other countries to just take out the animosity over there. What would happen, what would be the outcome, all the physicists were dreading and they were upset about. Many of them had fled from fascism, just as Einstein had, and now they were afraid that the Nazis could build and use an atomic bomb. Yes, so an atomic bomb, you explode somewhere and the entire area, nothing would grow over there. I will teach in the next lecture, you will be seeing what it is. Now, what is fascism over here? It's actually a dictatorial power where you can't speak anything. The opposition is like if I say yes and if you're saying no, you are opposition for me and I can easily suppress you. So that was fascism over there. In this kind of atmosphere, nobody could say anything against that particular power, that dictatorial power. So the physicists knew that something wrong was going to happen. At the urging of a colleague, Einstein wrote a letter to the American president. He was in the United States at that time. Franklin D. Roosevelt on 2nd of August 1939, in which he warned, a single bomb of this type exploded in a port might very well destroy the whole port together with some of the surrounding territory. The entire port would be blown off, and surrounding territories also the impact would be seen. His words did not fail to have an effect. Now, because a physicist had written that letter, the president knew that he had to act fast, because he knew that something would go wrong. Because if he is showing so much of concern and writing a letter to the president, immediate action was taken. What was the action? A very stupid one. The Americans developed the atomic bomb before Germans could do it, the Nazis could do it. Who did it? The Americans did it in a secret project of their own, and dropped it on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945. You have heard about this attack on Hiroshima and Nagasaki? Years together, nothing has grown on that land. Thousands of people had died, nearing 1 lakh had died, and effect of that explosion could be seen on the coming generations as well. Einstein was deeply shaken by the extent of destruction. But those who are related to science will never ever invent or discover something which will cause destruction. They will see to it that they do justice to the humankind. They would bring in something which would make things easier to understand, and they would, whatever is existing, they would bring a scientific explanation for it, or they would invent something which would make mankind's life easier. Destruction is never on their list. So all the scientists and the physicists would definitely work towards progress rather than destroying the society. This time he wrote a public missive to United States. So he immediately wrote a letter which is has got all the details, and in details he would be explaining, and it would be official. He wrote it to the United Nations. In it, he proposed the formation of a world government. Unlike to the letter to Roosevelt, this one made no impact. It said that if it favors you, you definitely act upon it, and if it doesn't favor you, you don't show any interest. But over the next decade, Einstein had got more involved in politics, agitating for an end to arms build-up and using his popularity to campaign for peace and democracy. Agitating over here means protesting. You put up a protest saying no to something, no to the use of bombs, and promote peace and harmony. That's why he used his goodwill. He used his goodwill to work in favor of peace and harmony. When Einstein died in 1955 at the age of 76, he was celebrated as a visionary and world citizen as much as a scientific genius. He was visionary is a person who has some kind of, I would say, a dream of an ideal place to live in. They have so many ideas which they come up with, if we do this, we could live in a better way. If we could do that, we could live in a better way. They share their ideas also. So he was not only a scientific genius, he was given the title of being a visionary for the entire world. So we come to the conclusion of the chapter here. Now you ought to solve the exercises which have been given. Write the question and answers. Solve. I hope you're doing justice to what is there in the textbook. Do every part of the exercise which has been given at the back of the lesson. May it be fill in the blanks, or you've been told to cite. You have been told to write the names of the paragraphs in which these particular words have been used on page number 50. Do that also. In my next lecture, I will be taking up a part of grammar again. As I said, I'm going to balance out by teaching you one literature part and one grammar part. So it actually reduces your burden and breaks the monotony over there. Thank you.